To not be grateful is to not be content. I started at the University of Texas, El Paso as an assistant coach.
Right.
University of Idaho, University of New
Right.
Orleans, Iowa State,
Right.
Chicago Bulls, the New Orleans Hornets before they became the Pelicans.
That's right.
And then the University of Southern California, and then back to the New Orleans Pelicans, and then finished my career where I started it at the University of Texas, El Paso. My father was a coach.
Yep.
And he passed away when I was younger. I was 18 years old. And so, I had that period between 18 and 22 trying to figure out who you are, what you want to do. He did not want me to coach. But, I could tell he was happy because they're all different.
Right.
Some guys are really sensitive. They've got to be lifted up. Some guys are indifferent.
Yep.
And need a little jab.
Yep.
Occasionally.
After the games, I kept wondering, what did he say to that kicker? What did he say to that kicker? And after the game, somebody in the post press conference asked him, and he said, I just told him that his life did not matter about that kick. It didn't amount to this kick.
Well, what a beautiful thing to say.
You were offered the job expecting Michael Jordan,
expecting
Scottie Pippen, expecting Steve Kerr,
Dennis Rodman, Luke Longley.
Yeah, you were expecting these guys to be on the team when you
Ron
accepted
Harper, Tony Kukoc.
Yeah.
Judd Buchler. And that didn't work out.
Right.
The longer you're with a problem, the more you become a part of the problem.
Buckle up. This is What the Hell Do I Know with JB.
All right, so we are back with another episode, and we've got Coach Floyd here, Tim Floyd, man. I am so excited to have this opportunity to interview you and talk with you and just get to know you more. And we were talking before we got going here, and we have some mutual friends, at least one mutual friend, Arlen, who has introduced us. And you've been coming down here to the Destin area, Miramar Beach, right?
A long time. Yeah, I grew up in Hattiesburg, Mississippi.
Just right around the corner.
Yeah, but we never made it down this far from Hattiesburg in those days. We didn't have a lot.
Right. Well, what was here then? It was a little fishing village.
Wasn't much going on. Panama City was kind of the happening place if you were in college for a spring break.
Right.
But yeah, we got introduced, I guess, 2005 to Destin, and have been here really a great deal of every year for the last 20 years, and really enjoyed it.
That's awesome. Well, it's so cool to have you down here, and you noticed all of our Georgia garb, and I was telling you, we went to the University of Georgia. Did you have you coached a lot of college teams, not a lot, but a number of college teams. I know UTEP, USC.
Well, I started at the University of Texas, El Paso as an assistant coach.
Right, under Don Haskins, right?
Right.
Bear.
Yeah, which was the greatest thing that ever happened to me. Really the only boss I ever had. Wow. I was with him for 9 years. And then,
couldn't have had a better one, right?
Oh, gosh. I mean, I can go on and on and on about him.
We'll dive into that.
But University of Idaho, University of New Orleans, Iowa State.
Right.
Chicago Bulls, the New Orleans Hornets before they became the Pelicans.
That's right.
And then the University of Southern California, and then back to the New Orleans Pelicans, and then finished my career where I started it at the University of Texas, El Paso.
That's right.
So it's been quite a journey.
What did you have outside of all of those growing up? What was your college team? I mean, you were in Mississippi. Was it like Ole Miss?
Southern Miss.
Southern Miss.
Grew up in Hattiesburg. My father was a coach.
Yep.
And he passed away when I was younger. I was 18 years old. And so, I had that period between 18 and 22 trying to figure out who you are, what you want to do. He did not want me to coach. But, I could tell he was happy what he's doing. We didn't have much. He was making $10,000, retired disabled at the age of 52, or at the age of 50, retired disabled and passed away a couple of years later. But, we were just happy. And, I tried everything else. I was going to be a doctor, going to be a lawyer. Engineer, math and I did not agree, from all those things. So they got down to it. I just kind of flipped and said, I'm going to go back to where I know I can be happy.
So you grew up, did you watch him coach? Did he give you any lessons in coaching, or did you just picking up just kind of by osmosis almost?
I just think I just loved being around, and I was younger. and just watching the team and pulling for them. And I didn't understand X's and O's at that time.
Right.
I played, but was a bad player, really bad player. I mean, it was. I like to call myself the first 5-year red shirt in the history of Division I athletics.
I got you.
It's kind of, I was the guy that they hugged my neck after wins,
right.
And,
But great practice team.
But I had a Georgia experience also.
Did you? I want to make sure that if you like what we're doing, I mean, again, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. You wouldn't believe that most of you, and I see it because you'll comment and you don't even realize that you haven't subscribed to the show. It is a free way to support what we're doing and the content we're putting out. So make sure that you hit that subscribe button right now.
Yeah, I came close to having that job. I
really?
Had been fired by the Chicago Bulls and was offered a job at Penn State and Clemson. This was 2 years after I'd been fired.
Okay. So this would have been like 02?
Gosh, probably, 03.
03?
3, yeah. And was over at Penn State and thought I was going to do that. And I called Bob Knight, and he told me, don't take that job. It's not a good basketball job.
Don't take the Georgia job.
No,
don't take the Penn State job.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then I became infatuated with the Clemson job.
Okay.
And I went over there and was going to have a press conference the next day and got a call from Vince Dooley. And he said, our job's better than the Clemson job. I want you to come over. And I spent the night at his house for 2 nights.
Come on.
And I'd asked him, I said, look, I've got to know that I can have this job because I'm turning down this Clemson job. And, this gravy train I've been on with the Bulls paying me for the last 2 years and not working is ending. I've got to go back to work.
I got to get a job.
I got to go. And so he said, it's over, it's done with, this and that. So went over there, and it was really strange. We were going to do a press conference. He had me meet with the president. And then the next day, Vince said, look, I'm going to be stepping away, and they want my assistant to take the job. And my assistant wants to hire an African-American coach. And he said, I can't tell you how devastated I am and just really, really upset about this because I know what I told you.
Yeah.
But, as fate would have it, a month later, I was the coach of the New Orleans pro team. So it all works out.
It all worked out.
Yeah.
How about that?
So when you said Georgia and we just met, I decided I was going to have to speak a little slower for you, as we go through this.
This is so good.
But anyhow.
We do have a little drawl there when we get going.
I've had a little some stuck in me all these years to where if they're playing Alabama, I'm pulling for Alabama.
You're pulling for Alabama.
Yeah,
you had that thorn in your side there.
They jabbed me pretty good,
Yeah, so I was there in 90, probably 98, about time when you were with the Bulls. I'm 96, 97 I graduated in 99. My wife did as well.
Yeah.
And so we were there when Kirby Smart was there. And so it was fun to watch him play and fun. I mean, they were a good team. We just couldn't get better. We couldn't get past, 8 or 9 wins in a season. And I think Jim Donnan did about the best he could at the time. And
was Jim Donnan there prior to Mark Richt?
Yes. Okay, so it was, we had the Ray Golf years. It's what we like to consider the dark years of Georgia football. And so he did okay. He got one of those payouts, when you're a coach, you get the team you're handed, and you know this better than anybody else. And you get the team you're handed and the cards you're dealt, and you do the best you can with them. But, he was coming after Vince Dooley, who had the legendary career.
Right.
And so they let him go, but he had a buyout. From what I understand, he invested all that money into a little chicken company at the time called Zaxby's.
Oh, really?
And so, from what I understand, old Ray Goff did pretty good.
He did pretty good.
He did pretty good. Never coached again.
Yeah.
He did pretty good.
Yeah.
But then Jim Donnan came along, and I think Jim Donnan elevated the program up really well from those years and gave us the opportunity to hire a guy like Mark Richt.
Right.
And Mark Richt, I think, did an incredible job, too. I mean, a guy got fired for a 10-win season. Can you imagine that 10-win season?
I know it.
I think it was just because they saw what Kirby could do, and he was available, and they knew if they didn't get him then. It was just one of the, I guess one of those moves. The athletic director at the time, it's a feather in his cap because, look at what the program's done. since, right?
Right. But Mark was close.
But Mark was so close. Now
I actually met him out in Los Angeles. USC was really hot when I was coaching at USC.
Right.
Pete Carroll was our coach.
Right.
And Mark came out that summer.
Okay.
Before their fall ball started.
Right.
Just to interact with the coaches and listen and learn like I used to do. I'd try to talk to other coaches and get input.
Sure.
And seemed like a really nice guy, really good guy. But,
again, from afar, he really seemed like that. I had so many moments just watching Mark Richt play, and my son grew up watching Mark Richt coach.
Yeah.
As an adult, my son adult now, he's enjoyed the Kirby Smart years too. It's the heydays of Georgia football when you're winning like that.
Because y'all win every game.
We win. I mean, we win all the time. And but under Mark Richt, one of the most special times I ever watched Mark Richt is he had a kicker that we were playing in a game. I don't even remember the game. And we were playing this game, and I guess it was just a tight game. We shouldn't have been, which is kind of I think he could feel the pressure that season, and it was towards the end of him being let go, and we should not have been in this tight game. We should have been destroying this opponent, but nonetheless, it came down to a field goal kick for us to win the game. And he called timeout, or the other team called timeout, and he pulled the kicker aside, just him and the place kicker, and they were talking on the field. And he went back and he made the field goal. But after the game, I kept wondering, what did he say to that kicker? What did he say to that kicker? And after the game, somebody in the post press conference asked him, and he said, I just told him that his life did not matter about that kick. It didn't amount to this kick.
Well, what a
Nothing
beautiful
mattered.
thing to say.
I know, he's like, you have fun. I love you for who you are.
Yeah.
I love what you've given to this program. I love who you are as a person outside of football. This kick doesn't even matter. So
when I was telling my players in that situation when they were shooting a 1-and-1 with, we're down one.
Right.
When I was telling them, look, if you don't make this, I'm getting fired. That was probably not the right thing to tell them. Is that what you're saying? But no, I didn't do that.
That probably. Did you have any of those moments? Like, what is your kind of like? What do they call it? Like the go get them boys. Like, what was when you're coaching? When do you have any of those moments that stood out that you felt like you had to energize the team in a way to get them that extra oomph?
Well,
Make sure you support my boys here at Floors.com. We're in their studio right now. That's FLOOR. Z.com, baby. Floors.com. They will take care of all your remodeling and new build needs. Floors.com. Check them out. Tell them the Jabroni sent you. So I got to tell you about my friends over at True North Pest Control. True North Pest Control, they take care of all them critters. You got palmetto bugs, they take care of them. You got ants, they got you. You got bugs little flying around, they'll spray for them. They clean out all the cobwebs. They're all over Central Florida, here in the Emerald Coast, and then the whole state of Georgia. Check them out, TrueNorthPestControl.com. They are your pest control superheroes.
I'm sure there were hundreds of them,
right?
Along the way.
Right.
Some of them more successful than others. So much of it is just who you're talking to and what that person is about, because they're all different.
Right.
Some guys are really sensitive. They've got to be lifted up. Some guys are indifferent and need a little jab occasionally. And but yeah, a lot of big games through the years. A lot of games that were really important for our universities or the professional teams.
Sure.
And you just reach down. Really, what I would do is reach down to what would Coach Haskins have done in that situation.
Wow.
And that was one of the things that happened for me that was, I think, very, very important in my life, in that a lot of coaches will work 2 years for this guy, 4 years for that guy, 3 years from that guy. They say they take from everybody.
Right.
But I was taken from a guy for 9 years, one guy that had been at a place where kids did not grow up wanting to go to school.
Right.
Like your son didn't grow up wanting to go to Texas El Paso.
UTEP.
And so he'd have to work with the best players he could find anywhere in the country, change his offense in order to fit this kid's skill versus we have a system. A lot of schools have a system,
right,
and they just plug in the next guy to the system. We didn't have a system. We had to adjust to what the player could do.
So you're run and gun, or you were more defense or blocking?
Yeah, or this guy can only score from the right block.
Gotcha.
So he's got to catch it on the right block.
Gotcha.
This guy, 6'11", can't pass the ball at all. So we're going to put him in a situation.
Every year you're redeveloping.
Every year I was taking from whatever was going on with that club. So, and I ended up in a lot of tough jobs myself. At the University of Idaho, and New Orleans was a tough job at the time. Iowa State had a history of last place finishes in the old Big 8 conference.
Right.
They would have been 8th in the Big 8. When we got to Southern Cal, they were last place in the Pac-10. And so you're having to figure it out on the fly, basically.
When you took Iowa State, didn't you take them to? Did they get to the Sweet 16?
Yeah, we did. We got there. Sure did.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because that's quite a rebuild to a degree. I mean, changing that system out and figuring it out when you got to that spot.
When I got there, Jason, I'd never coached a white guy.
Really?
Yeah, I got there and inherited 5 white starters. I was terrified. I really was. And but gosh, I learned. I mean, these guys were good. I mean, they could catch it, they could pass, they could dribble, they could shoot. They had highly skilled players, and I didn't think guys could do anything at that time. I remember after the press conference, we were at a little restaurant with the athletic director, and this 5'9" guy came walking over. And I thought maybe he wanted an autograph. He had buck teeth and big horn rim glasses. Okay. And he said, "Coach, I'm your point guard." And I couldn't finish my meal, after I met him. And it turned out to be as good a point guard as I ever coached.
Oh, that's amazing.
So you just learn, along the way. You evolve with different experiences.
Well, back to when you were kind of in the huddle, what I would call the huddle, and I guess it's around the clipboard. In basketball, they kind of get around the coach, and you're drawing up the plays, and you're trying to give them. It sounds like you almost had to be a therapist. That you had to learn what every player needed. Did you find that easier in college or in the pros? Which was easier?
I thought it was easier in college.
Yeah,
I thought it was a lot easier in college from that standpoint. My experience in the pros is that those guys had never made a mistake in their life.
Right. They got a little bit of money, and they just feel like I'm the greatest thing on God's earth.
Yeah, and as a college coach, you're driving them. They're in college versus the pros for a reason. They may not play as hard. They might not be as athletic. They might not be as skilled. They need a little force every now and then from the sideline, and in order to get in a stance or to change ends. Right. And the pros, when guys would err, and as a college coach, you'd let them know immediately. This is the way it is. It's what we're doing, and that's pre-transfer portal days.
Yeah, right.
Where guys now, I think a lot of college guys have become clappers on the sideline, where they're sitting over there doing this, patting them on the back, and might as well have pom-poms because they're worried about saying something that might take a guy out of his comfort zone, and now they get and
then he's gone.
Yeah, and then they leave. And I've always thought, for a guy to get better, you got to get out of your comfort zone in order to grow, and that's in life, period. But in the pros, I found myself counting to 10 a lot.
Really?
When there was a mistake.
Okay.
I would sit there and go, 1,001, 1,002.
Okay.
Because every action dictated a reaction.
Right.
In some part, because these guys, view themselves as, I'm here for a reason. So had to handle it a little more delicately.
Tone it down a little bit.
Yeah.
Because I imagine you get that superstar status. I mean, when you went to the Bulls in '98, though, because this is tough time to go to the Bulls when, they all retired. Did you know they had retired when you were offered the job, or no?
No.
So you were offered the job, expecting Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
Expecting Scottie Pippen.
Yeah.
Expecting Steve Kerr.
Dennis Rodman.
Dennis Rodman.
Luke Longley.
Yeah, you were expecting these guys to be on the team when you
Ron
accepted
Harper, Tony Kukoc.
Yeah.
Yeah. Judd Buchler. Yeah. And that didn't work out.
Right.
Yeah. But
I mean, so you didn't have any superstars. Did you feel like that was?
We inherited two guys that had played quite a bit.
Okay.
And Ron Harper.
Yep.
Who was he was playing basically on one leg the last couple of years of his career, and when we went in there, they'd had a strike that year,
right?
And so we didn't actually start coaching until February.
Wow,
that was had the
was
strike,
it shortened season then?
Yeah, 52 games. Mm-hmm. Strike ended, and then it was 1 week later we're going to play, and then as soon as the strike ended, they traded Rodman and Pippen, Luke Longley, Steve Kerr, Buechler, a couple other guys, and Dickie Simpkins returned, Randy Brown returned, Rusty LaRue, Bill Winnington, and Ron Harper and Tony. And Ron came to me and he said, "Hey, Coach," he said, "you realize we only play 52 games?" I said, "Yeah." And he said, "Do you realize that Harp's in a contract year?" And I said, "Well, I didn't know that." And he said, "Yeah." He said, "Did you realize Harp's got a bad knee?" And I said, "Well, yeah, I'd heard something about that."
Okay.
And he said, "Harp's only going to play in 30 games. He's not going to play in 52.
Oh, wow. So you were already losing him.
That's different. That's different in college, right?
Yeah,
But I had a lot of respect for him. From afar.
Sure,
didn't know him.
Sure.
And then they traded Tony the following year for the seventh pick in the draft, coach, which ended up being Jamal Crawford, who I had for 1 year. So, yeah, it's fascinating times. I wouldn't have done it any different. A lot of people have said it was the most difficult job that anybody's ever walked into in the history of professional sports.
Right.
Just because the Bulls were
the pinnacle.
They were the Beatles.
Yeah, they were the pinnacle of basketball at the time, and then they went into a rebuild year after they offered you the job.
Right.
I mean, did you feel like the rug was pulled out, or you still? I mean, it sounds like you were very thankful for the opportunity still.
Yeah. To not be grateful is to not be content. And so you figure you're in a place for a reason, and you're going to do the best you can with this particular situation. To the owner's credit and the general manager's credit, they held a press conference the day after they elected to change the team. They were going to try to bring Michael back, but Michael didn't want to play with
those young kids.
So he stepped away.
Yeah.
But they held a press conference and said, "Look, in order to be great in this league, you have to be bad, and by that we don't want to draft 14, 15, 16, 17, or 18. We want to draft 1, 2, or 3.
Right.
So we're going to take a step back, and this is our coach, and he's going to try to get us to that point, where we're drafting 1, 2, or 3, and then we're going to build it with him and move on." And I was successful in taking them to the first pick, because we stunk. we weren't any good, but had good guys and grew a lot from it in terms of patience and poise and not reacting, and tried to grow in terms of whatever the next gig was going to be.
What? When you were doing that, I guess you had 4 years with them, is that correct?
Yeah.
And with the 4 years, I mean, and you got the number 1 picks. Everybody's in a rebuild, but they knew they were in a rebuild. What goes on? And I mean, why do they make the change when they know they're in a rebuild?
Well,
if you're rebuilding,
listen, that the essence of what coaches do is try to win games.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
Yeah.
So to say that I was just really happy going in there every single day, with the roster not building, like I want them to go spend money on a this free agent, and they tried on a Tim Duncan, tried on a Tracy McGrady, but those things they didn't want to come there. They didn't want to play for a team that was no good.
Gotcha.
So, but regardless of what company you're working for, what industry you're in, and I happen to be in coaching, the longer you're with a problem, the more you become a part of the problem.
I got you. That's interesting.
And it can be laid out that, yes, we're going to take our time. Yes, we're going to be very, very patient. And I may not have been the right guy there at the end, because my patience had run out.
You can only take it so long yourself, right?
Yeah, you're more vocal with the GM, more vocal with, hey, when are we going to do something? When are you bringing this in or that? When are we going to have more input? That kind of thing. And so
that's such
I get it and understand it.
That's such a great outlook. It's like I was saying earlier, I think that for me in Georgia football, for instance, I love the fact that Jim Donnan came here, and I love Jim Donnan when he came to the university, and we were able to grow from him to get a coach like Mark Richt, and then Mark Richt is in his youthfulness. I hate how his career ended at the University of Georgia, but he still lives in Athens. And
Which says a lot about him.
Says a lot about him and how much he loved the place. He had a place down here at one point in time, here in Destin, yeah. And but
look, I wouldn't have lived in Chicago after I left. They couldn't stand me. I'd have been taking my life in my own hands.
Well, talking about that, you told a story on somebody's show that your first interview there at the press conference for the Bulls, you walked out of that, and then they had kind of like one-on-ones that you're going to do with press?
Yeah, one-on-ones in a gymnasium with
he says packed
cameras
with people.
From all over.
Hundreds of press there.
Yeah.
And you looked for the most gentile person you could find to interview you, and some 27-year-old lady comes up, and you think, okay, this will be great. And what was her first thing she asked you?
Well, she looked at me and said, "You ready?" And I said, "Yeah." And so she puts the mic in front of me. And I had not coached a game there.
Not one game.
Yeah. And she said, "How does it feel to be the most hated man in Chicago sports history?"
That was before you even coached.
Yeah, that's it. I just looked I just looked at her and asked her a question back that I knew she couldn't run on the air. I just said, "Hey, look, I can't remember what her name was."
Right.
But I said, "Hey, look, we just met. Do you hate me? Do you actually hate me?"
Right.
So she cut it off. I said, "Look, I've got this long contract, and you're going to want some access to me along the way. So let's
not start this relationship here."
Right.
Do you have media training to go through stuff like that? Or is that just something you picked up along the way? I don't know where coaches are today. It seems like they may have some media training.
No, I never had any media training. I just watched my old boss, who I thought was authentic, and you try to be real, and you try to go at it. Along that line, I'm gonna share a story with you about media training. I was coaching at Southern Cal after I'd left the New Orleans pro team, and it came out that this basketball referee, Tim Donahue, had fixed games. Yes, of which I was in 2 chapters in his book.
Oh my goodness!
Games that he fixed. One was a playoff game, which I was with New Orleans, and I got fired. Yeah. We lost 4 games to 3 to the Heat, and I'm gone.
Okay.
And then one was a game at Miami where I got fined $30,000 for kicking a ball about 40 rows into the target center.
A little Bobby Knight in you.
So, that's sticking in my craw, kind of like Georgia not hiring me. Right. It bothers me.
Right.
Okay, I could look at that helmet this whole show.
Well, I'd removed it if I needed to.
So anyhow, but anyhow, I got fined $30,000, and then I read this in the book, and so where he said, I was part of this deal where Floyd got ejected, and so I called the NBA office and asked for my $30,000 back. Yeah, which they didn't give it back. That's the way it works. I could use it now on this fixed income, but anyhow, I called David Stern. Yeah, and his secretary answered, and she wanted to know what it was about. And I said, just tell him I got some information I think might help him. Yeah, given this gambling scandal with the referee. Right. So he got on the phone. Okay. And he said, Tim, what you got? And I said, listen, I think it would really be helpful if the officials would have to go in, an official, the lead official, coach from each team, they both have to talk to the media after games. It's part of the NBA rules. Yep. And have an official talk. And he could talk about discrepancies. There were 27 team fouls called on the Knicks and 14 team fouls called against Charlotte. Yep. What did you see? Yeah. What about the block charge late in the game? Do you feel like you kicked that call and missed it? Where were you guys? Right. And he said, you know what? Given this circumstance that we're in that is very, very public and damning to the league right now with this guy fixing the game, he said, I like this. He said, let me get back with you on this. And so he called back the next day and he said, you know what? Don't want to do it. And I said, okay, why? And he said, our officials are not media trained and savvy with the media
like what to
you
say.
Guys are.
Yeah.
And they might say too much or may not say enough. And that may become the story versus, and I said, okay, I get it. I just wanted to throw it out. Yeah.
Very interesting. Yeah. So you almost had these, that would be, what a press conference that would be.
Don't you think it'd be?
It would be amazing.
Certainly.
Because you have so many questions. I mean, I think about football now. I mean, there's times I feel like in sports, I think there's going to be a day where it's AI, right? That's just calling the games.
Well, gosh, I hadn't thought about that.
I mean, you've got everything's reviewed now. Like even in basketball, but certainly in football, we're in the middle of football seasons right now.
And baseball's going.
Already
they're
doing
going to the strike zone next year.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right. Well, they're doing it in minor leagues and other leagues. They're already doing it.
Yeah.
So I just see, they're almost the eyes. It's a part of me. I have a love-hate with that though. Because there's an authenticity. We've talked about in having the human element,
when I went back to college, like Conference USA at UTEP, we had a commissioner or two, and their big thing was sportsmanship. And I contend
right.
that fans, they're not really interested in seeing us go down after the ball game and shake hands with the other team.
Right.
I contend that fans actually like to see a coach care enough about, that bad call that was just made to go out there and get a technical by walking out to mid-floor and getting the whole arena energized and saying, did you see that? Did you see that?
And I think you're right.
They love that. And I also believe that fans don't want to see, like after a NBA game, these guys out there hugging and changing jerseys with each other and signing jerseys.
Yeah.
It's about their team beating those guys. And you look back.
We've gotten a little away from that.
Oh, yeah. You look back like, these guys get together.
I remember the bad boys.
Exactly.
The Pistons, man, those guys were clobbering folks.
And you grew up in Atlanta, and Dominique was not going to dinner with
wasn't
Michael
a sweetheart.
Jordan.
He wasn't a sweetheart on the field, man.
No.
On the court.
No.
He was not a sweetheart.
He wasn't going to dinner with Michael and Dennis Rodman the night before the ball game, right?
No.
It was like
exactly
those guys were, we don't like these guys.
There was a
We're going to
respect.
beat them. Yeah,
I think there's a respect.
A healthy respect.
Right. But they want to beat you.
Oh, now it's just, a little kumbaya after the ball game, and let's hug, and they talk about it in the media, how I went to dinner with this guy, and I don't. And I think I think that's hurting the NBA a little bit right now.
Yeah, the NBA's going through. So my oldest daughter lives in Atlanta, and just north of Atlanta, and she's going to cosmetology school, and honestly, she's crushing it, thriving. There is nothing better as a parent when you see your kids doing what they're born to do and thriving in it. Just. My wife and I, we had dinner with her and her boyfriend a few weeks back and took them to a Hawks game. But when we left Atlanta, we just looked at each other, and, we were just so happy to know how happy she is. Yeah. And that was just so great. But when we were in Atlanta, in the arena, it was quite a product. It was entertainment 101.
Yeah.
The game felt a little secondary. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So I don't know what's going on with the NBA right now because it felt like, I was entertained. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. I was entertained. And there was celebrities all around, and it was quite the event.
Yeah.
The Hawks lost. Everybody still went home real happy, though.
Yeah, and they're going to come back.
And I don't know what product we're putting out there, and I don't know how long that's sustainable. I wonder where their TV rights are. I don't know. You would probably know that. Where do you think the state of NBA is right now?
I think it's great because of the international product. I think that's where a lot of their money is coming from. These games are televised all over the world.
Okay.
And a lot of money coming from China.
Okay.
And I think it's kind of become more of a regional game like baseball in terms of watching the games because Michael's not there anymore. It used to be.
LeBron's getting older.
Yeah, that's going on.
Although he's still, I mean, I don't have a problem with LeBron. I think he's probably a fine guy. I don't know him. I mean, like, LeBron, you ever want to come on? But, he's still, like, there's something electric about those teams in the 80s and 90s that I don't know they're still back.
There was a physicality.
Maybe that's
game.
it.
Yeah, there was a real physicality, and they played through the post, and there were hard fouls. Guys were knocked down. There were fights.
Yeah.
Going back to coaches disrupting calls, getting ejected. We're a nice world right now.
Yeah.
We sit out in the cool breeze and we shoot threes.
Cool breeze and shoot threes. That's exactly right.
That's what we do.
That's exactly right.
I guess some people like to watch that.
I guess it is. I mean, it's an interesting world. Kind of switching into a little bit of a gear because you spent so much time in college, and I think I've heard you say, and you may have even said it here today, or alluded to it at least, that you seemed like you enjoyed the college game more so than the pro game. And I don't know, am I saying that right? Or you enjoy coaching?
I loved all of my experiences.
Right.
I really did. And very grateful for all the experiences. And some NBA guys might challenge this, but I think it'd be interesting to talk to Rick Pitino or Lon Kruger, who went to the Hawks, or Leonard Hamilton, who went to the Wizards for a year. The guys that have done both. I believe that as a coach, what I found in the NBA is we were lucky in those days if you practiced twice in a 12-day period. You're playing 4 games in 5 days, so the guy's got to have a day off.
Traveling too, right?
Yeah, you're practicing. You're playing 4 and 6 days, so you might have an hour and 15-minute practice. So. When you
practice,
when we and that's what they would do. Like after about an hour and 15 minutes, they're looking at you like, okay. But in college, you're playing twice a week. So if you're playing on Wednesday and Saturday, you're practicing Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, getting ready for that Wednesday game. You know the other team's calls. You know what's going on. You know we're going to run against them where we think they're vulnerable.
Right.
The game is shorter. It's 8 minutes shorter. The clock is longer, 30-second clock versus 24. So what does that mean?
Okay.
It just means that there's an infinite number of more possessions in an NBA game where talent just takes over.
Right.
In a college game, you might play 6 or 7 guys.
Yep.
Maybe 8.
Yep.
Pro game, you've got to play your bench 16 to 18 minutes.
Okay.
And games are flipped with the bench.
Right.
And so I think that talent just takes over in that league. And I think and when you really pause and think about it, I think we'd both say Pat Riley was a great coach.
100%.
Okay. Pat Riley loses Alonzo Mourning the week before the season starts with a kidney. Okay. For the entire year, they won 19 games.
Yep.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Larry Brown, great coach.
Yep.
Larry Brown goes to the New York Knicks, and Isaiah says, I've got the roster.
Yep.
He then goes to Charlotte. Michael says, I've got the roster. Don't worry. No input. We got it.
Right.
He won 19 in 23 games.
Wow.
And so those guys are great coaches.
Sure.
And Popovich just went through 4 really difficult years in San Antonio. And the roster wasn't quite the same.
Right.
So you gotta look at it through the lens that talent is important. The length of the game in the pro game versus college adds possessions. The better shooters have more opportunities to shoot. Better rebounders, more opportunities to rebound. Better passers, more opportunities to pass. And in a college game, you can shorten the game by mixing zone, man, and I just loved the preparation.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I felt like you
more than the pros.
It seems what you're saying, what I'm hearing, is that you had more input in the college. You had more input maybe into the lives of the athletes.
Yeah, definitely.
More input into the system you wanted to run. It felt like you were really coaching. Where when you get into the pros, that talent takes over.
But you've got your system.
And you still have it, right?
You've got your system of play, and here we go in the pros.
That's right.
And you better have a side OB with 5 seconds to go in a game. You better have a quick hitter you can draw up in a timeout. You got to have guys that are intelligent enough to take something off a board and put it in because you don't have a lot of practice time. getting into it. So yeah, I did enjoy the college experience, just from the pure coaching part of it. And I think other guys may disagree with me and say, no, there's more coaching goes on in the pros. I don't believe that.
Right.
I don't believe that.
Right. No.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, what was the announcement? LeBron James when he Pat got him down to the Heat when they did the big three or whatever. I guess that was Celtics, but they had three. They had they called it the big three, I think, in the Celtics when they had their group up there at one point in time. But in the Heat had LeBron James,
Chris Bosh,
Dwayne Wade, and Chris Bosh, right?
Right.
And that was kind of their three.
Right.
But those guys just ran the team, right?
Well, I don't know.
We don't know. I mean, they had Eric.
And they're
probably
coaches,
fine coach and learned to figure it out. I'm sure he's great. Yeah.
And there's some that are better than others.
Yeah.
In that league. But yeah, he.
There was a season though. It seemed like that's what teams were doing, right? Get three of the best players. They'd almost collude with each other in the offseason and say, "Hey, I'm becoming a free agent. I want to figure out how to do this."
Which is different than the old days,
right?
That you grew up with,
right?
Dominique saying, "I'm staying in Atlanta.
I'm in Atlanta.
I'm a Hawk. You're going to come to me.
That's right.
I'm good enough. We're going to get Reggie Miller.
Yep.
Karl Malone.
Yep.
John Stockton. We can get this done. We just need one more piece.
Yep.
Michael.
They'd talk you to come to their town.
That's right.
We're bringing it for their town.
Isaiah stayed.
Well, as a fan, it made it so much more. That's my team.
That's my team.
That's my team. That's why I still stick with the Hawks. There was who was the guy? Danielle's behind the control room. The player we used to love watching. We've got his jersey at the house.
Mookie Blaylock.
No, Kyle. No. He played with Al Hosford. Kyle Korver.
Kyle Korver, yeah.
Kyle Korver, who's now in
Iowa.
He's in the front office with the Hawks now.
Oh, is he?
Ran into him on a plane coming back from Cabo after vacation with the family, and I had a chance just to tell him how much I enjoyed watching him play. He could shoot a three. Didn't he go to Gonzaga? Isn't it? That's
he went to Creighton. And he was coming out the year that I left to go to the Bulls.
Okay.
And Dana Altman was the coach at Creighton, and he came out of a little town about 15 miles from Ames, Iowa.
Okay.
Ankeny, Iowa.
Ankeny. They got all those weird names in Iowa, though.
And I didn't know who he was. I should have.
I have family from Keokuk, Iowa. But yeah.
Because he could really play.
He could play.
Yeah, could really play.
He's quite the athlete. He still looked in good shape, too.
Did he?
He was still in great shape. I have to give it to him. He was still in great shape, and he had his family, and obviously they had just spent, I think we were at Christmas time or something like that down in Cabo, and we just happened to be on the same flight with both our families coming back from break, and I just happened to look over, and I said, I think I know you. So that was fun just to get it. It's always neat to meet somebody that you grew up watching and then them to turn out to be a nice person. Have you ever run into some? I mean, you've been in the public life, but you've also, I'm sure, you've had heroes of yours. Have you met, as you were coming through, somebody that turned out to be good or bad, that disappointed or not?
I've had a chance to meet a lot of the people that I really looked up to. My two guys I had four guys growing up that were my guys.
Right.
Muhammad Ali, didn't get a chance to meet him.
Right.
Joe Namath.
Okay.
Did not get a chance to meet him.
Okay.
But in fact, I think he might be the only one still alive. Willie Mays was one of my all-time guys.
Oh, man.
And Pete Maravich.
Pistol Pete.
Yeah, I went to a camp, around him. So those were my four guys. And,
man.
And Willie Mays was my all-time favorite. And he just passed away a year ago at 91. But, But I have met others that I really admired, along the way. And they were all really good guys.
It's nice to meet that. Sometimes I wonder how the youth of today would see some of their guys, the superstars, and how would they come across? Yeah. Because I hope that they will be humble and kind. Yeah. I worry because of the influence that we have and the way social media is and all of this jive would, and the culture in, certainly college sports now into, and I think you take it with you, is kind of like a me. Guys are transferring. They don't have to wait anymore. I mean, you could play at 5 or 6 different universities in your college career if you wanted to. And there are guys that do this.
That's right.
And it's all about me, and you're chasing kind of the bag versus development versus being humble versus wanting. We've lost some of that. The culture's shifted.
Yeah.
And is that? I don't know if that's healthy. What do you? It is it is where we are, and there's some adjustment that needs to happen. But I don't know it's healthy. What do you think?
I absolutely don't think it's healthy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because we went back to the word adversity and uncomfortable, and that's the way. That's how you grow.
That's right.
That's how you grow.
That's right.
That's how you go back to work harder on who you are, and leaving it. I don't like it from the standpoint of the academic standpoint.
Yeah.
I think that, I talked to a coach this summer, and I won't mention the 3 previous schools the guy was at.
Right.
He was at his 4th school.
Oh my gosh!
Because if I said the 3 previous schools, everybody'd say, "I know who that is."
You know who it is, yeah.
But he attempted 94 credit hours over the previous 3 years, of which only 54 transferred to the 4th university.
So he's
every time
only
you transfer,
right.
Every time you transfer, you lose hours.
I've never thought of that.
Yeah. So that was one more reason why the red shirt was initially in there, why you sat out a year, because we're supposed to be academic institutions. I don't like it from the standpoint of these young guys. Certainly, let's, in a perfect world, everybody gets paid, but this is going to end. It ends after 4 years. The money's gone. You've given percentage to family, to your boys.
Yep.
And now all of a sudden, I don't have a degree, and what am I going to do? Because I was making that amount of money, and now you mean I'm only worth this?
Well, and the percentages of players to go from college to professional league is so small.
Right.
Certainly in basketball, certainly in football. Well, really those are the 2. Baseball, a lot of kids aren't going, I guess, to college necessarily for baseball. If you're good enough, you probably drafted straight into the minors.
Right.
But I talked to last season on the podcast, we talked to a guy that runs one of the largest, call it baseball influencer, recruiting pages. Almost over 1 million something subscribers. And these young kids put all their, when they hit something in Little League or in high school or whatever, they send him this stuff and he puts it all on this page. And coaches and he's a minor league coach, baseball coach, but he gets all of these kids trying to, obviously get recruited. And he helps, these kids get into college. Some of them maybe even get looks at in the pros. He made a comment, though, that he felt like in the not too distant future, we will have NIL creeping into high schools now.
It's already there.
And maybe that's what he's alluding. And he said, maybe that's what he said, it was there, but that we would have high school kids driving around in Ferraris and Lamborghinis. And I told him, I said, I hope not. I hope that if they can make the money and they can figure out how to do it, hopefully that somebody around them will say, how do you save this?
Right.
I think that's something that's got to happen to these college kids. My son's gone into finance, and he's looking at wealth management type companies to be a planner and work in that world, and I love it, and understanding money and why it works. But his number one thing is that most people in our country are financially illiterate. So you get these kids that come in with that they never had, their mama didn't have any money, their daddy didn't have any money, the families before them didn't have any money, and now all of a sudden they've got money.
Right.
And just to your point,
it's gone.
It's gone.
It's gone.
It's gone.
Yeah, when you talk to financial advisors, they don't want to manage players.
Yeah, because they don't listen, right?
They don't listen.
They don't listen.
And they like taking coaches. Some of them don't listen either.
Right.
But, right. Yeah. Like any other walk of life.
Right.
But, so much of what's gone on has been, in leadership, the lack of leadership, people listening to others that really have never been through the experience, listening to the media, people at the top. You'll get a couple of broadcasters saying, well, these kids should be paid. They should be paid. Well, they don't recognize. Every university I've ever been at was broke. University of New Orleans, University of Idaho, wherever we were. even at Iowa State early on, we don't have money to do this, we don't have money to do that. We didn't.
Right.
And if the basketball program was making money, it was funding wrestling.
Right.
It was funding
all the other sports
soccer.
that need to be funded.
Yeah, every other sport.
Right.
And so the assumption is that they're just flush in this cash.
Right.
Which they're really not.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing they always throw out is, well, coaches can leave. Mm-hmm. So the players are, but coaches can leave.
He's an employee.
And there's a buyout. There's a buyout. He's an employee.
Yeah.
He's an employee.
Right.
And it's going to cost him, if Lane Kiffin leaves to go to wherever, it's going to cost him, there's going to be a check written for that. Mm-hmm. Now, do you want to write that check as a player to leave because we've invested in you? What's the purpose of a contract, having a contract? So, they're not employees. They're student athletes is what they say. But so
are they anymore?
The guys at the top want to keep using that term, student athlete.
Yeah.
That's a crock.
Right.
It's a crock. They're not.
Right.
They're not. All the classes are online. Yeah, and they can still get a degree. Okay, they can still get a degree. But they're not getting that.
They're missing the entire experience
of the brick and mortar, going in the classroom, meeting the guy that's not a athlete and where it's going.
Getting talked directly to your professor and understanding what the assignment's about and
you look, I go back, like I said, to 77, and really as a player, 72 to 76, but 77 getting in the business, all those guys that we had at Texas El Paso back in the day, a lot of them young African-American guys,
right?
Okay, from all over the United States,
right?
New York, Houston, Dallas, Los Angeles, New Orleans.
Well, you were really recruiting then because
Chicago.
There's no film like it is today. Yeah. I mean, you were having to go to places.
We were gone 5 months a year.
Yeah.
And but all those guys, they graduated. All those guys working great jobs.
Sustained families. Changed
their
legacies.
Their kids have gone to college.
Yeah.
Their kids are becoming all walks of life. And it's a beautiful thing. And you know why? The other reason why that happened then and not now? We've got the first generation right now of American athlete that's never worked a day in their life. Okay?
Yeah.
Those guys, days all the way through 2005 when there was no money given to the guys.
Right.
They had summer jobs.
Right.
They were working.
They were working
in a factory. They were working at a law firm running papers. Maybe even didn't matter. They were working, in a glass factory. They were working at a car dealership, but they were working, and so they had the dignity of a job. They learned to respect their employer, that they needed to be on time and show up with respect in order to keep that job and have that money, and they learned the value of money. And now I worry about all those things. I'm not criticizing any of these players for taking it. I'm criticizing leadership and guys my age that allowed it to get to this point. And the other thing that really bothers me is the destruction of the low to mid-major schools.
Yeah, because we do have kind of this vacuum that's happening with the SEC and the Big Ten and the ACC, and they're pulling in on all these, and so you've got these other schools that are out there. That
Tennessee Chattanooga's got a great cornerback.
Yep, let's go
get
after
a hold of his agent.
Yep.
Boom.
Yeah. Okay. Well, they've got all these agents now. It's become quite a business when you think about it, too, because I see all this stuff on TikTok and Instagram. You see these young players, and like my buddy who's putting out all these different reels. You see all this stuff happening where these players are starting, they're in their own system of learning at 6, 7 years old. You see the quarterback who's running drills in his backyard with his dad, quarterback coach sort of thing, and they're getting really when I grew up, you kind of played every sport until you got to a certain level. And then if you were really good at something, then yes. I mean, so for me, I played soccer growing up.
Okay.
But I in the backyard, I played everything. I played football, baseball. I did all these different sports. But eventually, soccer became my thing. And so sometime around middle school or whatever, I was playing soccer summers, winters, fall. So, all the time I was playing in some league somewhere on some team.
Right.
And I understood it because I was getting better. I was playing with better players and better opportunities were happening. But now I'm seeing kids that are saying, I'm not only am I going to just play football or baseball or one thing, but I'm playing one position. And that's the only thing, and I want to focus on that at like such a young age.
And you know what they miss out on is you take a skill or a process from every sport. They're all different.
Right.
And all those things combine into really, really helping you with the number one skill, which is competing. You're competing.
Yeah.
We talk so much about skills, but competing is a skill.
Yeah.
And this world has changed from that standpoint.
So would you rather have somebody that's extremely talented or uber competitive? Just can't stand to lose.
Uber competitive.
Yeah.
But let's throw in a little talent. So,
throw it into the big. Have something. Have something I can work with here.
I met a lot of those 5'8" guys that are wearing black socks and got 6 watches on and blow dried hair that compete, but they're no good. You gotta have a little bit of both.
So when you were at the Hornets, I had one question I want to ask you about that, and I actually wrote it down because I knew I wouldn't remember it well. But you coached Baron Davis, Baron Davis, and he was the engine. And felt like he was like kind of the engine of the team when he was healthy. And when he was, y'all were dangerous. But how was that planning a team around somebody when you're injured and you're out and you're not there? And
well, that year, Baron missed, I want to say 36 games.
Yeah.
And our other star was a guy named Jamal Mashburn.
Yep.
He missed 63 games and the playoffs. And so, you play the next guy up.
Yeah.
That's what they always say, the next guy up.
Next guy up.
That's a great saying. The next guy up. You just got to step up. Well, that's great. But one guy's making $15 million, the other guy's making $800,000. And there's a reason. There's a reason for that.
Right.
But anyhow, those were probably our 2 primary guys. But the guy that I really relied on was P.J. Brown, who was just a true pro, great veteran, and good guy.
And that took you kind of back to that.
Much more so than Barron did.
That took you back to kind of your roots when you were in that area, right? I mean,
in New Orleans,
New Orleans. Yeah. Those are kind of the teams.
I don't know why they hired me because we were so bad at Chicago. but we had some
you have
success.
to interview well, huh?
Well, we'd had some success at New Orleans as a college coach.
Right.
And the pro team was new coming in.
Yeah.
And I think they thought, well, this guy can sell tickets,
There you go.
They were wrong about that.
Not so much. Where did y'all play? Did y'all play in the dome?
No, we played in the what is now the Smoothie King Center.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's right next to the dome.
Right next to the dome. The dome would have been too much. It'd been too big, right?
It'd been too big. Yeah.
Yeah. So you were in Smoothie King. It probably was called something else back then, I guess. Who knows? Yeah.
Yeah, but it's great. It was a great facility then. It was 2003-04 season. Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, you mentioned Pete Maravich. I was in a Bible study, Sunday school, actually, years ago, I think 7th grade, 8th grade, and it was 8th grade, I guess, and no, take it back, 7th grade. I don't know why I have to get this right. It's my show. But Truett Cathy, the founder of Chick-fil-A, was my Sunday school teacher in 7th grade.
God.
Yeah. And, of course, I was too young to realize. I was too young to realize how cool that was.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. I was too young. Was it such a knuckleheads, But one class, he produced a movie, helped produce a movie about Pistol Pete Maravich and his life. And the young kid it started at his home with his dad and it took him through really his high school playing basketball and learning to spin the ball and do all this, and it was just absolutely amazing about Pete. I think it's called The Pistol.
Yeah.
And
I've seen it.
Okay, so you've seen the movie. Well, that actor came into our Sunday school class, and he had to learn how to spin the ball, and he did all these moves underneath his legs. And I'll never forget that day. Yeah. But I fell in love with Pistol Pete Maravich and LSU.
Yeah.
And so before I was a Georgia Bulldog, that there was a period of my time, and Shaquille O'Neal happened to be playing for LSU right around that time. What a great time to be an LSU basketball fan then, right?
Right.
So I went down the LSU road. You think Kiffin's gonna? They're talking like he might go to LSU.
I got to know Lane a little bit out at USC.
Mm-hmm.
He was offensive coordinator with Sark,
right,
for Pete Carroll,
right,
during that period of time. And who knows? Who knows? I sure wish it was handled differently.
Yeah.
I sure hope he doesn't leave.
He's doing something good, I think, at Ole Miss, huh?
Yeah, I think. Well, that, but they helped him. He was at Florida Atlantic and came in. But more importantly, all those players sat there. You go through all this. We're building team. You can't leave them going into this playoff. You can't have an announcement that you're going into this playoff. You just can't do it.
That's terrible.
I remember. You grew up in Atlanta.
Yep.
Georgia Tech had an opening a couple of years ago,
Mm-hmm.
in football.
Yep.
And they wanted to hire the guy at Tulane, Willie Fritz.
Okay.
And they were in the midst of what ended up being an 11-2 season, Cotton Bowl season.
Yep.
They beat Southern Cal in the Cotton Bowl.
Okay.
And Willie was offered that job.
Okay.
And he said, this is my understanding from one of their guys that I think knows.
Right.
And he said, that would be wonderful, but I'll talk to you as soon as the season's over because I owe it to these players to get through this year.
That's right.
Okay?
That's right.
And he stayed. And they said, well, you got to tell us right now because we got to hire a coach and get into this portal and get going.
Yeah.
He said, well, then I'm not your guy.
We're in like a win now. We need everything now.
So he stayed another year.
Yeah.
At Tulane.
Okay.
And see, that's the guy I would hire.
Yeah. Right. Right.
I would hire that guy.
That's committed to the
LSU.
program.
Yeah.
Right.
That's.
Do you think it's not Lane being pressured? They're pressuring him, and Ole Miss is pressuring him, is what it seems like? Or do you think Lane's
all you got to do is just make a statement?
Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't think you take your family down to Baton Rouge and your family over to Gainesville.
Right.
During your off week.
No.
I don't think that's fair to
the programs.
To the players.
Yeah.
I don't think it's fair to the public.
Yeah.
I think you wait and you talk about it at the appropriate time. If you want me, we'll do this after the season. We'll talk then.
Right.
Okay. But not now. And if you got to go hire another coach, go hire another coach.
Right.
That's
how you would handle it.
And maybe that's what's going to happen on Friday.
Yeah.
Maybe Lane's going to say, hey, I'm staying at Ole Miss.
I'm not talking about this.
I do worry about it because I like Lane.
Yeah.
And but I worry about it because I think that will become his legacy regardless of what kind of success he has at LSU. If that makes any sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's always going to be
how you left.
Yeah.
Yeah, Nick left under the cloak of night at LSU one time, right? I mean, they flew him up there. Nick Saban was at LSU, and the story goes Wayne Huizenga flew up there and just talked him into leaving right then from LSU.
Well,
and just snatched him. Was it over? It might have been over. It might have been over. It might have been over. Yeah.
Season was over.
Yeah. Nick, he's old school though, right? Yeah. So he's kind of comes from that background of doing things the right way.
On TV, hadn't he?
Hasn't he? He's been amazing.
I mean,
if
his post-game press conferences didn't translate to that VRBO commercial
or
game day.
Well, that's because he had the right media training. Don't talk to him at all. Give him the one quick sound bites and go on.
No, he's been outstanding and really have a lot of respect from afar.
Yeah. So you're now though in Nashville. Is that where you've kind of
Franklin?
Yeah, I love Franklin. Yeah. I love it. It's a great spot.
Yeah.
A lot of friends that live in Franklin. It's a great spot down there. Married for 48 years.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I think I read somewhere you had a wedding album was stolen. Did you lose your wedding album?
Well, you did some digging. Yeah,
I did.
Yeah, it was, and. Some other items when we were in Ames.
So you lost all of this?
Yeah.
Did you ever get anything back, or?
Yeah, no. No. That was a crazy time in our life. We had, there was speculation that we may be going to Chicago.
Okay.
Really about a year and a half, 2 year period.
Really?
Yeah. And
why do you think that was? I mean, you know, because we just talked about Lane having this speculation. Of course, it's not speculation. These programs are coming after him. But why do you think it was there for a year and a half? Were they flying you out? Were you?
No, the GM, and it's going to sound crazy, but I knew for 10 years that I was going to be the next coach of the Chicago Bulls.
Come on.
From 88 to 98. 88 to 98.
Wow.
Yeah, that sounds nutty.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jerry Krause scouting a player at Louisiana Tech named Randy White.
Mm-hmm.
And he watched him play 3 times, and it happened to be against our New Orleans teams, University of New Orleans. And we won all 3 games, and after the 3rd game, he walked up to me, and he said, "You don't know me, but I'm Jerry Krause from the Bulls, and you're going to be my next head coach." And
1988.
And then he started trying to talk me into running the triangle offense, which I didn't want to do. But he called like once a week, and then it'd be a couple of years later, it was twice a week. He invited me to come up and watch the Bulls practice, which I never did.
Right.
I didn't want to do that. But and then
this had been circulating,
3 or 4 or 5
I guess.
years. Yeah. It went on and on. So yeah, but
so fast forward, there's about a year and a half. There'd been this talk of you
going there.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I got a call from Joey Meyer, who was Ray Meyer's son, who was the head coach at DePaul.
Mm-hmm.
And Joey was a great friend. And Joey said, their family had been there coaching in Chicago for going back to the 40s.
Mm-hmm.
Joey replaced his father. And he said, "Tim, I just want to give you a heads up." He said, "But apparently," he said, do you all live in a wooded area?" And I said, "Yeah." He said, "Apparently there's some kind of disc that one of the TV stations has put on a tree outside to try to gather conversations that you all might be having within your home." And he said, "I got this from a friend of mine in the media. Whether or not it was true or not, I don't know."
Wow.
But and then shortly thereafter, we had you'd mail in those days. It wasn't email and all that kind of thing.
Right.
Text.
Yeah.
You didn't have.
Yeah.
I mean,
now you just get flyers in the mail, but you actually got stuff worth it. Yeah.
We actually wrote letters
right. In cursive.
Yeah, and we went through about a 3-week period where every letter that was sent from our house, the person that we sent the letter to would say, "Did you intend to open that letter?" Because it was scotch taped on the back.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so we had some of that going on.
Wow.
Because it was a different time, but I kept that relationship going with Jerry Krause because I was at New Orleans college program, and I thought, man, how cool would it be to have this guy on my resume if I decide not to coach in the NBA, to be able to go get that next head coaching job, because it's a tough move from low to mid-major to a high-major job.
But what a lesson for young people today listening to try to not burn any bridges. I mean, to develop skills, to develop talent, but as you meet people and you're going along life, why not take the call? Why not keep the relationship going? You never know what can happen and what can come of it.
Absolutely.
I mean, a 10-year job interview, really.
Yeah. And I actually knew, like, the first year they beat Seattle with Sean Kemp and Hershey Hawkins and, who else they had? Gary Payton was on the team.
Yeah.
They beat him in the championship series. And Jerry Krause and Reinsdorf asked me to go to Seattle to watch a game up there because he wanted me to meet Jerry Reinsdorf, and we spoke. And Jerry Reinsdorf said Krause wants to blow the team up this year. They ended up winning 2 more.
Wow, yeah.
Beating Utah.
Yeah.
And are you ready to do this? And I said, I think you need to let it die its own natural death.
Right.
Because sometimes you can be too close to it.
Right.
And so he asked me to tell Krause that after the year.
Okay.
And Jerry was opposed to that because he was ready to blow it up. So I guess they should have given me a ring.
Yeah.
For the next
they should have given you that. Yeah. So I've just got a few more questions, and I would be remiss if I didn't, because you talked about how Bobby Knight told you not to take the Penn State job, and I would be remiss. One of my co-hosts, this is a different style. It's just you and I today here on the set, But people that watch this show know that one of my co-hosts is a guy named Brandon. We call him B Money. But he graduated from the University of Indiana. He is a Hoosier. And he has a lot of revere for Bobby Knight, let's just say. He loves Indiana basketball. In fact, I think that's all they do in Indiana is they all have these Amish barns and they put up hoops on the side of them and they just shoot at it. That's all they do. That's all these guys do. And Brandon was one of those. But tell me a little bit about that relationship with Bobby Knight, because you obviously was close enough to where you could ask him about a job.
Yeah, we've gotten to be really close. I say really close, as close as he was to most coaches in the country, maybe more closer. He was great friends with my boss, Don Haskins.
Right. Okay.
And he actually took his Indiana team to play us in El Paso. We went back and forth, and my boss hunted and fished with him. They were great friends. So because of that, he always gave me a little attention. Or he didn't give a lot of people attention. Then we had another situation where there was a player in New Orleans by the name of Neil Reed. Neil was a guy who Coach Knight was accused of choking. He lost his job.
That's right.
Yeah. And I went to watch Neil work out when I was coaching the University of New Orleans. And his father, who was his coach, Terry Reed, I watched the greatest individual workout I'd ever seen.
Really?
And his dad said, "Tim, you're a little late. He's committed to Indiana." I said, "That's okay. I'm going to hire you," and hire the dad. So I called Coach Knight and said, "Look, this is going to look bad. I'm going to hire the dad, but I wouldn't take the player because he's committed to you.
Yeah.
But I need for you to talk to the dad and tell him what a great opportunity this was." So his dad was on our staff at Iowa State when Neil was playing at Indiana.
Wow.
And when Neil and Coach Knight were having issues, Coach Knight would call me and say, "Would you tell Terry to talk to his son about this, talk to him about that?" And then we continued to have a relationship.
How about
after
that? How about that?
Yeah.
Yeah, what an interesting story. So last question. First off, I want to tell you what a pleasure it is to talk with you. I have so many different things we could go on and on for hours and hours, and maybe one day when you're back down here, we'll cover some of that, because I'd love to continue to get your thoughts on NIL and all of that, and then dive into those early years with the Bear, because I know those are some incredible stories of leadership, and that's something I feel like's resonated out of this conversation is almost everything, certainly in sports, but wherever you are, it seems like it rises and falls on leadership. And so I've absolutely thoroughly enjoyed this conversation.
I've enjoyed it as well.
It's been so great. So I have one last question I'm asking everybody this season.
Okay.
And so last question, I wrote this one down too. It's the only other one I have here. It says, what's one thing you've added to your life, a practice, a discipline, a way of showing up that you wish you could have told yourself to start years earlier?
It would be an understanding of the word enough versus everything in excess. What is enough?
Okay.
What does enough mean? Had I coached enough? Had I had enough success in my mind? Had I done enough for my players? Did I need to keep doing it? Did I have enough money? All those things. You can just keep chasing all of those things. But the word enough, to me, is something that everybody has to come to grips with at some point in their life. And do we have to have a bigger house? Do we have to have a nicer car?
Right.
Do we have to go on this trip and post it and show everybody who we are and where we are and what we've been doing?
Right.
Do I have to wear this kind of clothes that's got a designer deal on it? In fact, I've had this, I think, going back for 20 years, which
that's
is
great. That's great. It still looks good.
Right
it's enough.
Well, you can't hide cool.
That's right.
So, but anyhow,
that's so good.
But yeah, I think that if I wish I'd have had a better understanding of that word earlier in life versus more in what's out there. I think it's healthier.
Coach, I think you're spot on. There's studies that have been done. Some of the happiest people in the world have the least amount of things. There was a guy that I'm sure you're familiar with, a guy named Paul, way back, wrote a number of books of the Bible. And he wrote this verse that everybody knows. If you know the Bible at all, everybody knows this verse. And Evander Holyfield from Atlanta used to wear this on his belt. He'd have like his waistband of his, the words Philippians 4:13 on there. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And growing up, I used to think that was all about I can go out and get in a ring and knock out Mike Tyson or whatever it is, right?
Right.
And you come to find out Paul wrote this letter, because it's a collection of books, but it's really a letter to the church in Philippi. And he wrote this letter in a prison that just a few years ago, Danielle, my wife and I, and we took our kids there, and it's the Mamertine prison, and it's stuck between the Forum and the Colosseum and the Forum and kind of Rome's capital. And there's down this little alleyway, there are these people you can pay, $20. You can go in, you see this Mamertine prison where it's about 4 foot tall and about 4 foot wide, and they drop you down in there, no windows or anything. And Paul wrote a letter where he said, whether I am in want or I have plenty, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me.
It's beautiful.
That's the real message.
That nails it, doesn't it?
That does.
It really nails it.
Man, again, it's just been my honor to have you on our show.
I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me. It's nice when you hadn't worked in 8 years to kind of be remembered. Somebody think that you got something to say. So I've enjoyed it.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hopefully you'll come back. We'll see you around. I can't wait now that I know you're in town, we'll have to have you you and your wife over the house.
Well, that'd be great.
I know you got some lessons there in marriage too. 48 years. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you, Coach.
I've enjoyed it.